All right, we are back and the votes are in. In fact, they're still coming in. These are live tabulations. Let's take a look at where we stand. Okay. Last place right now is Waterbury and Stowe, Vermont. Still wonderful places at 19% of the vote, 23% of the vote. Tough tie for second is White Mountains of New Hampshire, and at 26.7% of the vote, Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. But the winner with 30% of the vote, this was a close race, we've been doing this all day long, was Monhegan Island. And we are off there now.
There are more than 4,600 islands off the coast of Maine, but in the hearts of many, not one comes anywhere close to Monhegan.
Even if they come one time. Monhegan. Oh, I loved Monhegan.
Monhegan sits about 10 miles offshore, a granite gumdrop in the Gulf of Maine, topped by balsam and spruce, sprinkled with wild lupin, 1 square mile of concentrated enchantment.
It's a spectacular island.
With its dramatic cliffs, among the highest on the Atlantic seaboard, Monhegan has proved irresistible to artists since the 1800s. It's an allure that has not diminished with time.
The only drawback to me about Monhegan is that it has too many other lovers other than me. They're like mushrooms around here every place I look.
Perhaps Monhegan's most notable resident, artist Jamie Wyeth, son of celebrated painter Andrew Wyeth, grandson of famed illustrator N.C. Wyeth.
As a very young child, I would look out from where my family lived, Cushing. You could just make out Monhegan in the distance. I mean, to me, to be far out at sea and away from everything was just my idea of the best.
Wyeth has painted everything from pigs to presidents, but he returns time and again to the rich simplicities of Monhegan, the drama of its landscape, the pragmatic poetry of its houses, and the dignity of those who live here, human or not. But Wyeth's close observation of nature often makes room for a puckish magic. In Moonlight Voyeur, his old friend Andy Warhol makes a spectral appearance on the rocks of Monhegan's Lobster Cove.
No, he never came to Monhegan. It's too bad because he came to my farm a lot. That was he was a man of many contrasts.
Wyeth's home is a Monhegan icon, standing sentinel over Lobster Cove. Painter Rockwell Kent, one of Wyeth's idols, built the house for his mother.
When he built it in 1905, all the islanders said, it's going to be blown away in the first sou'wester. And I've had windows blown out, doors blown in, but it's still here, knock on wood.
Wyeth splits his time between Maine and a farm in Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania. He also paints in a lighthouse he owns in nearby Tennant's Harbor on the mainland, but the house on Lobster Cove gives him an unobstructed front row seat to nature at its fiercest and most grand.
To be here in the storm is really unbelievable because the sea goes over top of the house and the whole house just shakes because it's built on this ledge, and I just love it.
Monhegan's dramatic cliffs, rising 160 feet straight up out of the Atlantic, unquestionably the island's high point.
Well, I've seen people stand here for hours and just watch the ocean. It's very calming.
In fact, 3/4 of Monhegan is protected land, the vision of one man, Ted Edison.
Ted Edison was the youngest child of Thomas Alva Edison. He came out here in 1908 as a 10-year-old with his mother.
Margot Sullivan is with the Monhegan Associates, the nonprofit that oversees the island's wildlands. She says Edison, a lifelong summer visitor, was alarmed at plans to develop the backside of the island piece by piece. He bought up parcels, forming one of the first land trusts in Maine.
I cannot imagine what this would be like if Ted had not done this. Where we're standing would have been a development. It was mapped out in streets and house lots all the way out here to Burnt Head, all the way to Whitehead. And when I look at that map, I cannot visualize houses coming all the way out here to this beautiful ocean. I cannot imagine it.
Today, few of the hikers on these cliffs know how close this rugged land came to being built up and paved over. While the great scientific advances of Thomas Edison may have made the world a brighter place, out of his shadows came a son whose own impressive legacy stopped progress in its tracks.
He had vision, he had, determination. Once he got this in his mind to do it, he was focused forever.
Change comes slowly to Monhegan. Today, they are cutting hay by hand up on Lighthouse Hill. The roads are still hard-packed dirt and cars are banned, though a proliferation of contractors' pickups has been raising eyebrows of late. Kids play freely outside, and electricity was just a dream until a few short years ago. The Trailing U, one of 3 hotels on the island and one of the last non-electrified holdouts, the main dining room still lit by lamp oil and candle. Thank you. Like many longtime Monheganites, Margot Sullivan is of mixed mind about the coming of electricity.
And it's kind of like once something starts, you get used to it a little bit. My house has power. I have the internet. What can I say?
When we opened the brewery, we thought, well, we'll just see what happens. We're kind of down here at the south end of the island.
Matt Weber and his wife Mary weren't sure what to expect when they opened Monhegan Brewing in the summer of 2013.
It never dawned on us that this is where all the hiking trails start or end. So everybody that comes off the hiking trails is really thirsty. And that works great if you happen to have a brewery right there.
One of Monhegan's most sacred spots, the Cathedral Woods, so named for the vaulted arches of its soaring spruce and balsam fir. But if the majesty is above, the magic just might be below. Monhegan's Cathedral Woods, long known for the mysterious appearance of fairy houses.
They've been there for a long time. You know, you bring it up and people say, oh, my grandparents built a fairy house.
While admiring these delicate structures, made primarily of pine cones, twigs, and moss, we have the rare good fortune of actually catching a fairy in the act.
I can use the moss for something else.
Verona Sherrick and her daughter Frankie are from Salt Lake City, making their second visit to the island.
Frankie really wanted to come back with her own supplies and make a house for herself, for her own fairies.
Others aren't quite as taken by these whimsical creations.
I'm not crazy about them, but...
Folks like Margot Sullivan recognize the tradition, but worry about disturbing delicate mosses and tree barks. There's even an extreme faction on the island, largely anonymous, known as Stompers.
No, I'm not a stomper. No, I'm not a stomper.
When pressed, Sullivan confesses some family members have partaken in illicit construction activities, which she is reluctantly okay with as long as the construction materials are ethically sourced.
Using just what was loose, the pine cones and the pine needles and pieces of wood, and I'm okay with that. But I suppose I'll get into trouble for saying that, won't I? But anyway.
A great look back at Ted Reinstein's trip to beautiful Monhegan Island. Great choice for our first trip. Where will we go next? The options and your next chance to vote coming up. One destination down, one more to go. So where to next? We have 4 more options for you. Watch closely, then decide where we go. Option 1, Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Once known as a honky-tonk haven, Old Orchard Beach is now a family destination. Throngs of thrill seekers visit the Palace Playland every year. Many say the atmosphere reminds them of the old days at Revere or Nantasket Beach. Option 1, Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Option 2, Truro, Massachusetts. Erica Tarantel heads to Truro. While there, she finds fresh rainbow chard and a restaurant that turns dining into dinner theater. Option 2, Truro. Option 3, Townsend, Vermont. In this quiet town in southern Vermont, we meet a man whose pride and joy are his performing Frisian horses. And we meet a husband and wife who loved goat cheese so much they bought a farm and started making their own. It's small town life done right in Option 3, Townsend, Vermont. Our final option, Point Judith and Block Island. We head south to Rhode Island, where Ted Reinstein meets an oyster farmer turned restaurateur and learns why this fishing village is a key part of Little Rhodey's economy. Shayna picks up the ferry and is off to Block Island for sun and fun. Option 4, Point Judith and Block Island. So you know what to do. Head to our pages on social media and cast your vote. We'll take you to the winning destination next. All right, we're back. The votes are in. This has literally changed during the commercial break. Here are the numbers. Townsend, Vermont with 15%. We still love you, Townsend. You're great. Truro, Massachusetts on the Cape, 22%. Old Orchard Beach was leading heading into the commercial break. They've dropped to 28% of the vote. And Point Judith and Block Island, Rhode Island have pulled ahead during that break. And that is where we are headed now.
With more than a third of its just over 1,500 square miles covered by water, they don't call Rhode Island the ocean state for nothing.
And here in Rhode Island, there is perhaps no place that is more historically connected with the sea than right here.
You may know it as the place with the biblical name and the Block Island Ferry. Galilee, Rhode Island sits on Point Judith within the town of Narragansett, where the southernmost edge of Narragansett Bay turns to the east to look out to open ocean. Fishing here doesn't go back to the Bible, but it sure has roots.
It's 150, 200-year-old, rich in history, families, generations, fish trap, fishermen, dragermen, lobstermen. It's been here forever.
Rich Fuca is president of the Rhode Island Fishermen's Alliance. Here, like every other fishing port in New England, challenges are as regular as the tide.
Point Judith fishermen, Rhode Island fishermen are survivors. They're like the MacGyvers of surviving lifestyles, government change. They've been through the high oil prices. Right now, what we do best is harvest lalago squid or calamari.
Indeed, Point Judith calamari has become a bona fide menu item, and in a rare display of Rhode Island political unity, it became the state's official appetizer by act of then-Governor Chafee in 2014.
You laugh, but you know, a lot of politicians
how many states
laugh.
have an official appetizer?
Well,
that's great.
And it created quite a stir.
More importantly, it continues to keep jobs in this storied harbor, where a walk among the boats can still yield a tasty surprise or two.
A lot of time the guy that's retrieving the basket and dumping it into the flume that goes into the fish house still asks, would you like a few fish? It's a very, very heartwarming place down here.
At the very tip of Point Judith, we stopped by the Coast Guard station to check in on one of the nation's oldest Point Judith Lighthouse.
The original lighthouse was built in 1810. The current lighthouse was built in 1856. It's made out of granite stone and it's 50 feet tall.
A local landmark on both land and sea, its distinctive brown and white marking is as deliberate as the look of any other lighthouse.
Lighthouses are painted in distinct ways so mariners can tell them apart as they're traveling up and down the coast. So the reason that this one is brown on top and white on the bottom is to distinguish and let the lighthouse stand out on the bottom against the background.
The beacon can be seen for 16 nautical miles out to sea, which is a good thing here on the western entrance to Narragansett Bay.
The maritime side of Point Judith is known as the Graveyard of the Northeast, and it's a pretty treacherous point of water.
Things were considerably calmer across the way in Matunic, where we dropped by an old friend, Perry Razzo, who we first met 6 years ago, soon after he'd started his 7-acre oyster farm here on Potter's Pond. The oyster farm is still thriving, but things are a bit different shoreside. The little seafood shack, which Razzo bought to dock his boats, has grown, just like the waiting list here, every single night.
Are you amazed by the growth?
Yeah, I'm surprised